Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my weekly review for this week's episode of The Walking Dead Season 5. This week we got to see The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 13, which is called Forget. Okay, and spoiler warning, as always, if you guys haven't seen the episode yet, you're going to want to watch it before you watch my review. So favorite part of the episode has to be the end. This one for me was so great because, in essence, what we see is Rick has full circle become Shane. 100%. Not even, a little bit or he resembles. No, he is. He actually 100% is. He is sort of that post Save the Last One Shane from season 2, and he is in Shane's footsteps. He is in the same situation where he finds something, in the zombie apocalypse, he realizes that things can't go back to the way they were. He recognizes that. He's giving it a chance with Alexandria Safe Zone. But, deep inside with the guns and everything, he knows, keeping the gun behind, he knows 100% things can't go back. They need to look out. They can't just live life like there aren't, tons of threats on the outside of the walls and zombies and other groups that will take the Alexandria Safe Zone. He knows about all this. And at this point in time, I love the scene at the end where he goes back to reach for the gun. And he doesn't have to say anything. It doesn't have to be explained. You just know as a viewer what he's thinking is, wow, I could just totally shoot this guy right now. And if I did that, he would be out of the picture. And in a zombie apocalypse, you just get used to people dying all the time, people being killed off. And as he said in the previous episode, which was episode 12 now, which was Remember, at the end of the episode, well, if they can't make it, we'll just take it from him, right? So if Peter can't make it, we'll just take it from him. So it was really cool because in this case you have Peter who would not really like the previous Rick version, but you have the same type of scenario that played out earlier on with Lori and how they're kind of Shane and Rick, kind of the love triangle they're fighting over her. We haven't seen the beginning of that yet with this new Jessie character, Jessie and Peter Anderson, but just the way he reached back for the gun, you could just tell it was such a Shane move, for him to even feel to reach back for it. And I just I loved it. I thought it was so well. It just played out so well compared to the comic book series. I don't really recall ever seeing Shane and Rick in the comic book series at that point. It was more like in the comic book series version of this story that Rick, as a constable, realized that this guy Peter was actually hitting his son, and he basically flat out attacks him as a result because he's defending him and everything like that. The TV series version, we haven't seen any of that yet. We haven't seen, and then also the Andersons have 2 kids in this one. I don't believe in the comic book series they did have 2 from memory, if memory serves me correct. So really love to see what happened with Rick in this episode. Really thought that was super cool, and just when he reached back for the gun was my favorite part of the whole episode for sure. Really interesting choice of theme music at the end there. Something that this episode too, it didn't feel like The Walking Dead. It felt like a totally different show. It didn't feel like what we're used to from The Walking Dead. It was completely different. It was just aside from Daryl and Aaron being out there in the world. Everything else, with a few zombies out there with a horse and everything, which was sad, by the way, when the horse gets eaten. Aside from that, I was just like, wow, this feels like a totally different show, especially the theme music at the end. And I did like how Rick has kind of this realization that the zombies really are, they are trapped on the outside. They really can't get in. They can sit there all day and and hammer on it or whatever, but it's not going to do any good. It's not going to do anything. So really cool ending of the episode. Another part that I liked a lot, of course, was the Carol scene, where again a lot of the sequences in this are very similar to the comic book series version, but then you have others like the thing with Rick that are subtly different, but for me, have a big meaning. So with Carol, I loved how it was Sam. I think his name is Sam, right? The kid. Yeah, let me just check here. Yeah, it's Sam. So Ron and Sam Anderson. So Sam chases after her because he wants his cookies. I must have my cookies. So he chases after her, and he finds her stealing the guns. And Carol makes a decision here that is very intelligent, because if you consider it, there's no way anybody would believe it. Right? Even if he told his parents, there's no way they would believe that she said what she actually did say to him, which is to scare the living shit out of him, to tell him that if he tells his parents, he will disappear. He will wake up far away from the Alexandria safe zone, tied to a tree, and even if he screams, all that's going to come is monsters. So I just thought to myself, there's a monster here. Somebody's a monster. But I just thought it was really clever how she handled that, because I was interested. I was thinking like, oh, what is she going to do? What is she going to say? Is she going to play it off like it's nothing? She's just been caught, so to speak, by him. Instead, she tries the intimidation, threatening technique, which I definitely didn't see coming, and really smart at the same time. Like I said, if he goes and tells his parents, they're going to be like, "What? She said that to you?" I don't think so. They might ask her about it, but she could just deny and play real nice and everything, and there's no way they would believe it, right? People wouldn't believe it anyway. So, or she'll bake him all the cookies that he wants. So I thought that was really clever as well. So let's go over the episode and each part that we got to see briefly. So we had the intro, of course. You had Sasha, who she actually had Michonne's part in the Too Far Gone part, where as they're inside, just having this party, right? You have all these people that are worried about this just nonsensical bullshit that really doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. They're talking about making pasta and special kind of pasta, and what would you like me to cook for you? What would you like to eat? This kind of thing. And it's like, dude, who cares? But these people, as Rick said, are like the luckiest people on earth. And even luckier now that Rick and the others are there, or maybe not. We'll have to see how it plays out. And I like that angle too, as well. We'll have to see how Rick, will he reach for the gun? Will he take the opportunity, or what's going to happen? So the luckiest people ever. So you've got Sasha. She's doing the target practice. She's the sniper, and we did get to meet Spencer Monroe in this episode. I didn't realize there was one. I was thinking Aiden was going to be a remix version of Spencer. So it turns out that Deanna, who was her, and also her husband's alive, Reg, which is cool too, because I was wondering where he was. We hadn't seen him prior, so we find out that Reg is alive, and you have also Spencer and Aiden Monroe. So you have two. So Spencer in this one seems to be very nice to Sasha, which is kind of like the comic book series version. Andrea was in that position. Now Sasha's in that position. So it seems like more and more that Sasha is basically Andrea. Could I see her and Rick together, which happens later on down the road in the comic book series with Andrea? I don't think so. I just don't see that starting now, but who knows? We're way in advance right now, so maybe in the future we could see something like that happen. Plus, a lot of times it seems like right now they really are trying to stay close to the comic book series in a lot of ways. Maybe with using different characters or things like that, but a lot of things are very, very similar. So really like that. Really like how she's losing it, and she's come and get me, and you've got all these different sounds that are playing as she's kind of the shooting the gun is kind of bringing back a lot of these emotions and helping her get her anger out, her anger and frustration out that she has from everything that's happened so far. We also see a zombie that has the W on the head, right? So also, more blatant this time, more obvious of us seeing the W, allowing the zombie to survive, but carving the W in its head to let it wander around, sort of marking their territory, so to speak. Do wolves mark their territory? I don't know. Do wolves? Well, they've if it is the group of called the Wolves, which it sounds like it's probably going to be, they have marked it with W, so they are probably in and around that area. Definitely starting to look more like we're going to see them, and it looks like they probably are a remix version of the Scavengers. So we'll see what happens with that. We've been talking about that quite a bit lately. So just another one to add to the evidence, so to speak, so far that there are some close survivors around that like to put W's in zombies' heads. We also had some cool horror music at that part, which was really cool. Like I want to say almost like 80s and early 90s, zombie movie horror music, and we don't get that much nowadays. We had a lot of it in season 2 and earlier, but we haven't had it recently. And I really liked how they put in a little bit of that kind of zombie genre horror. It's got its own like 80s genre horror music, and they use that there, and I did like it quite a bit too. So then we have Michonne, and she's trying on her cop outfit. She's hanging up the sword, everything like that. Rick talks about the lookout. Sasha volunteers. Spencer's also going to do it. We didn't get to see Aiden this episode, although he may be in trouble for what he did with Glenn last one, so he may not have been invited to the party. I didn't see him there. Then we had the horse buttons that got eaten. Daryl and Aaron. So I wanted to comment on this one. So I thought this was really interesting that you have Daryl and Aaron. That I didn't see this coming. I did not predict this. That they would develop a camaraderie because, as of course Aaron and Eric are homosexuals, they are also treated differently, just like Daryl is. Daryl is treated differently. He's treated like an outcast. But if you think about homosexuals in society and how small of a percentage of everyone that there are, even though nowadays it's gotten much better, people are not they don't treat being gay is a lot more normalized now, right? Of course. However, you can understand that from their perspective, they feel like outsiders, especially in a zombie apocalypse. For them to be gay, a lot of people would treat them differently, right? Because they'd be like, gay survivors. We don't see them very often. So definitely that makes sense, I think. And I really like that development that Daryl and Aaron are developing, as recruiters, that maybe Daryl can be the next recruiter. And I really liked how he showed him the kind of bike garage that the guy had there, that he's working on some small little things and lots of parts and stuff, so maybe Daryl can build another bike. So I thought that was really cool. Didn't see it coming at all. I was thinking Daryl was going to be outcast and leave or something, because you know how he's the lone, like a lone wolf, so to speak. Pun not intended in this case. Also, I like the horse that it kind of symbolized. Daryl and the way he was talking to it, that it's kind of become wild. It's been out, on its own too long, and it doesn't want. Eventually, at one time it was somebody's. Now it doesn't want to be. It's wild, but then in being wild, it actually just gets killed out of random, basically. So really like that a lot. A lot of symbolism they've been using lately. And last week we had the possum, and you've got Carol playing possum. This week we get to see the horse and Daryl, or maybe I'm just stretching too much. Your opinion, but I think that's intentional. So did like that. It was sad when the horse actually did get eaten down. Horsey gets eaten, Buttons got eaten. So that's sad. I also like the spaghetti scene, and just really liked what they did with Daryl. Looks like he's going to be able to fit in after all, and still be able to leave, because if he's a recruiter in a spotter, he's going to be out and around all the time, and he'll kind of be able to assimilate, but then at the same time keep his distance from everybody. So I like that, rather than just straight out leaving. I think that makes sense for the character. So very, very in character for him, what they did with him. So then we have, so there's all that. We got the stamp thing and the party, and meeting a lot of the newer survivors in that. There was Tobin as well. Another guy with him that maybe that's Heath. I don't know. We don't know for sure yet. He doesn't have glasses, so and the hair is not the same. He had a shaved head, I think. Let's see. So we have the party. Abraham was wasted, so that was funny. I did like that. We had the scene with Spencer and Sasha, which I mentioned. Carol, about her being a monster with the Sam kid, was funny. And then you had Judith and Carl, and I did like that. In this episode too, you got a real sense that the survivors, like, for a little bit, they're actually happy. And I was happy to see that. Sometimes you think, oh, well, if they're safe and, there's no danger or whatever, that it's going to be boring. I wasn't bored at all. I just thought it was really, really nice to see them being happy in the series after they've been through so much crap all the way through. You got to give them a little bit of fun here and there. You have to. And really like the scene when Rick looks over and he sees Carl with the other kids his own age, Ron and the other boy, and they're just kind of, just being teenagers, just, developing some kind of friendship. Because, if you think about the real world, when you're that age and you're in high school and that, friends are extremely, extremely a big part of your life, and Carl hasn't had that for a really long time. So I just thought that was really cool. And then, of course, the big scene, which we have to focus on a bit too, is when you see... So you see Jessie, right? You see Peter, so he goes, and Rick and her are kind of talking, that kind of thing, and she's got Judith, right? So, of course, as she has Judith, you can kind of see too. See, Rick doesn't need to say anything, but you can kind of read the thoughts. You already know what's going on. That, he sees her holding Judith, realizes that Judith doesn't have a mom, and instantly sees the opportunity of that and tries to give her a kiss or whatever, or does basically. When Peter is not there, he's not looking or anything. So very Shane-esque. So I liked it a lot. I thought it was great, and it makes a lot of sense since it's been so long since, well, maybe not in TV series time, but they've been through enough for probably 10 or 20 years of regular time in terms of turmoil and what they've been through since the prison, since Laurie was killed off. Even having the opportunity or the prospect of having maybe not a replacement, but having another mom for Judith that has raised her own boys and everything like that could be very enticing to Rick, right? Makes perfect sense to me. Then, of course, as I mentioned at the end, as we end off with Rick feeling this inner id urge to reach back for that gun, and then controlling himself and realizing, wait a minute, I can't, that's not the way, so now he has to think back, wait a minute, how did Shane do this? Okay, that's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. So, so that's pretty much all I got to say for this week's episode. I really like the episode a lot. Luckiest people alive, these people, man. And even luckier, at least some of them, that they found Rick's group. In terms of a score, man, I'm going to give this one a 9 out of 10. Really liked the episode a lot. Favorite character stuff was with Rick for sure. Then probably Daryl, Carol, and then I forget Sasha. Great too as well with her. Starting to feel a little bit more attached. A little bit more for Sasha. Some people in the comments in the Q&A recently said that she's very dull. She's extremely dull, not likable or anything. And I agree to a point. I think she's starting to get better, though. This episode did a lot of good things for her, where it's like, as a viewer, too, am I okay with seeing everybody just being happy, smiling, talking about stuff that really doesn't matter, in the zombie apocalypse? Because it all could be, wiped out in one day. It could all be gone if a herd comes through or something, right? So great episode, man. Really liked it. Really liked Forget. And those are my kind of favorite parts of it, and what I think in terms of the episode. It was great, and it was a big change because you don't always want the show to do the same thing. If you do that, it gets repetitive. So having change is a big part of a really long-running series and keeping people going, and that The Walking Dead does it really well, while still having your zombies and still having character development and and everything that's been happening. I really love what they've done with Rick for sure. Starting to like the character more. You see, this is the question in the Q&A we were talking about. My favorite character, I said it was Daryl, but you see how it can change, right? Because I really like what they're doing now with Rick. So it could. We'll see what happens. We'll see how this whole thing plays out. But definitely love the episode a lot. So let me know what you guys thought, what your favorite parts were of the episode, and if you like this review, this one's a little bit of a thorough one, so hopefully you guys like that. People have been asking for those. Please thumb it up below. If you want to help support the channel, please share it. Please favorite it. You can share it through to your Facebook below, or click the favorite. It does help it as well too. And if you're new to the channel, you want to get these videos every week. You want to get my predictions and my daily Walking Dead videos in your subscriber feed. All you have to do is subscribe at the bottom left. Just click the button. That's all you got to do. Real easy. And that's it for this video, guys. We'll have the predictions video posted very soon for you guys for what I think is going to happen in next week's episode. Do some predictions. So let me know what you guys thought. I really enjoyed it, and that's it for this one. Now we can forget it. Okay, I'll stop with the bad puns. See you guys for the next one. Trev saying peace.